Yeah.
Welcome to J.ill, a production of iHeartRadio.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Hi.
Yeah.
How are you? I hope that you're so good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for checking in with us. This is J.ill, the podcast, and I'm here with my sister friends, my strong, powerful women, Laiya Sinclair.
Strong and powerful.
Damn straight. And Aja Graydon Dansler.
Woody woo!
I like when I say Dansler.
Dansler.
That's a nice name. I wish I had more syllables. I didn't get enough syllables in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like bop bop. Bop bop. And did I tell you that my mother put an exclamation point on my birth certificate?
You
I mentioned that to you?
You can do that?
You told me.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my name is really Jill Scott.
That's fucking amazing.
It really is, though. Like, it really is.
I enjoy that choice.
You thought you was doing something naming your son King.
That's a nice name.
It is a nice name.
Yeah, my nephew's name is King. It's short
That's
for
a nice
Kingston, but we call him King.
I saw you had a pretty baby on the Instagram, Aja. That's your niece. She's so beautiful.
First of all, my sister-in-love,
Yeah.
I really do believe that she was brought here to the earth to make pretty babies.
Wow.
Because she literally has 5 little girls, and they are all adorable. Like, she's a little pretty black girl baby making machine. And her latest one is the icing on the cake.
Her latest one.
Listen, I'm like, Jill, these Dansler men like them babies, honey. I mean, they is poking.
They take the socks off when they're handling their business.
Listening.
They take the socks off. Yes, girl. Yes.
So you have a really, really big family, huh?
I do. But Fatine, my husband, is the oldest of 6 children.
Wow.
And this is his sister, who also now has 6 children.
Wow.
As we have 6 children.
Wow.
But, yes.
So
but
that's
we are,
a lot of cooking.
Oh, yeah, girl. You know, I've cooked every day for a bazillion years. But now I don't do it anymore. I'm going to tell you what broke me. This here pandemic, I cooked every day for about 3 months.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was
and
mad
finally,
after a while.
I just was like, I can't do it anymore. So I implemented Fend for Yourself night.
Oh.
And I also, look, hashtag fuck them kids, okay? Get into it. Fend for Yourself night.
I'm just shaking my head, yes. I'm just shaking my head, yes.
And then was also just my older children had to take a certain night to cook. So, yeah. Lot of cooking. Amen.
You come from a big family, Laiya?
No, it's just me up in here. But my mother and my father are both the youngest of their brood. Like, my mom's the youngest of 5, my dad's the youngest of 9, and this is it for me. So I adopt people. I got a lot of god brothers and sisters and whatnot.
So the holiday times is kind of it's more relaxed for you because how many people are showing up?
Listen,
Is it friends and family or?
It depends. Last year we did a lot of New York folks from my dad's side came down and we had dinner at my mom's house. So that was really nice. But to be honest, as far as the Christmas holidays and an only child, we cut that out about 25 years ago after the presents, and we just decided to travel. We do our own thing on the holiday.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah.
Oh.
My mama like, you too old for Christmas.
Jealous.
Yeah.
That's nice. So let's go somewhere instead.
So now that we started that little tradition, I'm trying to, hopefully maybe this year, maybe we'll do, I don't know.
When do you start preparing for the travel?
Well, Jill, as a daughter of a flight attendant, that can
we
vary.
don't.
Right? I'm like, that can vary from, mommy, we going somewhere this year. Where we going? Okay. So come 3 week before, we're going to start packing. And then nice. A couple days before that, we're going to pick the flight to see what the load look like. Oh, this flight attendant life is real.
Right.
Yeah.
So you, Aja, you've got to, cook for a
Listen,
lot of people.
Let me tell you something. Thanksgiving was all, I mean, for years. And
That's
I
two
love,
turkeys, isn't it?
Well, no, not, well, it is if we go to family's house. If we go over, we've gone over to my mother-in-law's house many times. And then because also, too, I have a mother. We have bounced from my husband's mother's house to my mom's house. Till finally I had so many kids, I was like, listen, y'all, I don't feel like dressing all these kids, carting all these kids to go over to somebody else's houses and eat. And then, like, what is the leftover situation going to be like? By the time I pack up food from your house, I done packed up leftovers that look like a whole, like I cooked. So I was like, no, I'm going to cook at home. I sit there, I feed my children. I said, if y'all want to see these kids, I'll bring them over for dessert or something like that. My mother and my family and my in-laws are like a family. They're close to. So my siblings and my mom are all close to my husband's sibling and mother. So we have a bit of a really good mixture. So we tend to spend time together. And we also have two different religions in our family.
That's what I was about to ask you, yeah, because I'm like,
My
Yeah,
mother, we don't
on.
celebrate Christmas because we're Muslim. My mother, and please don't get mad at me for cussing and carrying on in this show. Like, look, y'all can just save the emails now. I cuss.
yeah.
So, and my mother's side is Christian. And so typically Thanksgiving over the years would be the time that we would end up all together.
Right.
But on the Islamic side, on the Muslim side, we would do Eid dinners. And that's a time, there's 2 Eids a year and a calendar Islamic year. And so we would get together and cook and eat for Eid. And then, yeah.
I just thought about that, Asia. You got a lot of holidays in your mix. Like, you got but traditions. You got a lot of traditions, and that's
a lot of traditions, but it's not that, it's actually, I think, really good for the kids because the kids get to just understand about diversity within family and that, blood ties are stronger than cultural ties and that you can still really believe and do what you do and still be able to be respectful of your family and things like that. So I've loved over the years that my kids have gotten an opportunity to do that. And the little extra work is just that, hey, you got to have an extra conversation. You got to keep family on point, make sure everybody is aware, that kind of thing. And even with Christmas, though my children don't celebrate Christmas, they have family members who do. So in the past, they may have sent the kids a couple dollars or this, that, or the other.
Oh, but Jill, you a whole, y'all about to say you a whole Jehovah. So that's, not now, but you were raised that way, right? So then.
First.
Wait,
let me
no.
just
whole
say this.
Jehovah's with an S.
Listen,
Did I do that? I'm sorry. What I do? I'm sorry.
You was a whole Jehovah's.
I'm
Listen.
sorry.
They are called Jehovah's Witnesses.
I'm sorry. I shortened everything. I'm sorry.
To be called Jehovah would be like me calling a J.ill.
Okay. And y'all not a 5% of witness. I got it. Jehovah Witness.
Right.
Yes.
Jehovah's.
Jehovah's. See how I take that S out?
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses.
Because that's a black thing to take the S out or add the S.
Yes.
It is what it is, but they're Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
And I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, not because I was baptized as a Jehovah's Witness, but because that's the house I lived in. And as you know, when you grow up in a house, that's what you do. You do whatever your parents are doing. So I grew up with my mom and my grandma, and we definitely I feel like I missed out on a lot of stuff, like holidays and things, until I got old enough to catch transportation by myself. Once I got old enough to hop on that 54 and catch a subway and then go on and I forgot what other bus I could. I don't remember now, to get to Mount Airy, where I would go to my aunt's house, and she would have Christmas there. So that meant I got to eat the good Christmas food. I got to play Uno all night long and laugh out loud. And my aunt would always get me something. God bless her. It was never anything that I wanted. But the fact that she thought of me meant a lot to me. And until I got older and was like, hey, listen, I'm going to just want you to keep that. Like, keep that money in your pocket. You don't have to buy me anything, But the holidays were really, really fun. I thought from not celebrating them to celebrating, I was like, this is cool. And then I got older. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute.
Talking about it. Mm-hmm.
So Christmas is, I don't know the exact numbers right now, but when I was reading about it, it was like Christmas was 73% of America's economy.
Ooh. Wow.
73%.
Oh, shit.
And that was a long time ago. That was a long time. I don't know, what it was then, but that was enough to shake my world up and ask myself, like, what am I exactly getting into, and why am I doing this? There's the stories. Clearly, we've all heard the stories about Jesus and Christmas. How, number one, Jesus wasn't born in December. So who made up December 25th as his birth date? And why do we give gifts and all of that jazz?
And where did Saint Nick meet Jesus? When did Saint Nick meet Jesus?
Well, it was an attempt. Okay, so the historical implication of this is...
Let's go.
Yes.
Is that it was an attempt.
I knew she would.
Me too.
I was setting it up. Just
Break it
But
down.
the thing is, y'all know this answer already, so I don't appreciate y'all setting me up.
Come on, Asia Almighty.
It was an attempt for the king at the time. I want to say it's probably like Constantine or somebody who was trying to spread Christianity, but knew that the cultural and the cultural beliefs of the people where he was were not right in line with Christianity. At the time, they were celebrating a winter solstice and something else I want to say called Christ Mass or something like that. And so what he decided to do was allow them to keep elements of their cultural celebrations and mesh it together with Christian tradition so that he could ease the people into celebrating or practicing Christianity. So that's how you get Christmas in December. That's my understanding of it.
Is that how Saint Nick comes into the conversation?
That's not how Saint Nick comes into the conversation, but that is how stuff like Yuletide greetings and things like that come into play. And like I said, the time period and things of that nature. So yeah, and trees like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
That's how the Christmas tree comes into play, and garland and mistletoe and things like that. So yeah, so that's where you have some Christians who over time have actually stopped doing those types of traditions because they understand that it's not necessarily a quote unquote Christian tradition.
It's at this point, an American, but not even American.
But now it is very American because you do find people, like she says, like a big part of the economy. So people come here from other places, and part of their embracing American culture is to celebrate Christmas.
The music is nice. I always love
the
Christmas
lights.
songs.
I have always loved the lights. My children, my little Muslim children, have always loved the lights.
I've always loved the lights, and I've always enjoyed the music and the getting together and the smells of it all. I always thought that was so nice. But when I had my son, I think we had Christmas maybe twice, and I just felt wrong. It didn't sit right for me. Because, we have all of these things, all of these holidays that make money, really. Think about it.
Valentine's.
I wrote cards for Hallmark. Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
there's
we
always
missed them
something.
cards, by the way, because I'm just saying every Mother's Day, Father's Day, I was looking for something.
So Christmas didn't feel right. One, because I didn't grow up celebrating it. I got a chance to participate in it with my Aunt Shirley. Shout out to Aunt Shirley, who was so beautiful and kind and loving to me. Miss you so much. So I got a chance to experience that. But when I had my own child, I was like, am I really setting him up? Do I want to tell him lies?
Right. I always wondered how I would handle this as a parent. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, like, it's not real. Like, do you want to tell them lies?
And not for nothing, the thing that, I went around with my mom when she finally decided not to do it, I started to think too about how I would have these amazing Christmases, but come the New Year, my mom is trying to figure out how to rob Peter to pay Paul. And I was like, this not fair.
No. So when I was little, what my mom used to do is she would wait until Christmas was over and then we would go shopping.
Smart.
Because there was all of the Christmas holiday stuff. And I had gone back to school without doing the then going shopping part. And I came back to school. I had on the same clothes I had on the week, a couple weeks before that. And all the kids had new clothes.
Yeah.
And it messed with me. Like, I felt jealous and I felt like I was getting left out of something that I wanted too.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that to Jet, but I also did not want to lie to the kid about these holidays.
Right.
So I invented FAMUS. Fam is.
Okay.
Yeah. FAMUS.
Yes.
I
FAMUS.
was like, okay, Christmas, but I was like, FAMUS. Family is. What are the things that I love about holidays or traditional holidays in America? You get together with your family. You cook with your family. Y'all listen to music. You dance. You play games. Somebody's gonna, play spades or something. Like, we're going to enjoy each other. And I was like, that's what people really are, inclined. That's what they really love to do. It's the family portion. So I was like, okay, I'm going to create a holiday that is about family. Family is. The only difference between Christmas and FAMUS is there's two differences. Instead of putting up garland and we put up the colors of our culture. So there's a lot of African flags around the house, and we put up pictures of people we respect and admire all around the house during FAMUS.
I love that.
We have a tree, but our tree is black.
Come on, Black Tree.
Black? Where the hell you get that? A black?
Spray
I
painted
think
that
it was from the
joker.
Home Goods.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a black tree.
That's dope.
And we put pretty much anything we want on the dang thing. Sometimes it's pictures of us. Sometimes it's kente cloth, or sometimes it's African flags, all over the continent. So there's pictures of people we admire and respect, and then there's this black ass tree, and that we do presents, but you have to earn them. And how you earn a gift on FAMUS is you have to write a 1-page essay. It can be longer, but it's a 1-page essay about whatever you want to talk about. Whatever you want to talk about. And then we all sit after dinner, we all sit and listen to one another speak out loud and think out loud. So, one year Jets was about raccoons, because we had raccoons in our, trash sometimes. And what we found out from his essay was that raccoons have sensories in their hands. They have 5 digits like we do. So, but they have sensories. So when they touch a trash can, they're like, that is jelly.
Wow.
And what else is that? And some onions and pizza.
That's awesome, Jet.
Yeah, right. And then he's okay. So the essays have to be handwritten, or they don't have to be handwritten, but it's nice. I prefer them to be handwritten. Once you read your essay, then you get your gift. Or gifts, depending, because anybody can give anybody a gift. But if you don't read your essay, you ain't get nothing, and that's just the way it works. You don't get without giving, and that's just the way it is. So we go from listening to our elders to listening to the children and everybody in between. So we get to our family gets to hear us thinking about whatever we want to talk about. It could be anything. And that is the gist of FAMUS. It doesn't have any religious implications. So my mother comes, she's a Jehovah's Witness, and she's like, she doesn't celebrate holidays. But this doesn't have any religious implications. So it's more of a family gathering. It's FAMUS. So I think it works for any culture, whether you're Indian, whether you're Italian, to have pictures of Italian people that you respect and admire all around the house, to have your tree red, white, and green, to sit and listen to your family, think. So that's pretty much what FAMUS is, and that's what we've been celebrating for the last 5 years. So last thing is, because it's the essays are on paper, I collect them and keep them in a little FAMUS box. Well, it's not little anymore, but keep them in a FAMUS box, and it becomes a family treasure. So I can look back and say, okay, in 2012, you wrote an essay about why you don't want to do homework, or why you think homework is unfair. You know what I mean? And you get to also see your own handwriting. Yeah. Particularly for the kids. So,
I love that.
How long does it take to develop a holiday, Jill?
I guess overnight.
Oh,
if
wow.
that's what you want to do. I mean,
for FAMUS, how long did it take you to figure all those elements out?
Well, it didn't take long, because I've been thinking about it for years. Like, what is it that bothers me? What is it that doesn't sit well with me? That, one, this is such a big economic holiday. That bothers me. Two, it doesn't have any basis in history. Well, why not praise the Lord all year round?
Right. That part.
Praise the Lord all year round. Whomever you decide that you call God, based on information that you know, or based on your family and how they've taught you, praise the Lord all year round. Be grateful for your creator and creation all year round. Mm-hmm. But at this time, celebrate family. Celebrate family and ask of them to do something to get something.
I'm going to tell you, I know that the being with family part, particularly for Black folks, is the pull for all of these holidays. Because obviously even the question around whether or not Black people should even be celebrating Thanksgiving has come up in my family in the past 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
As you talked about that, should we even be celebrating this, especially since I have friends who are Indigenous, and they just feel so deeply disrespected by that holiday.
As they should.
And so for us, as we all should feel deeply disrespected by it. But I think also, too, the idea of being with family, for us, that's what resonates. It says, okay, well, I just want to, I'm not keyed into all of it. I just want to be able to play bid with and eat some good food and, and be around, my extended family. So I can really appreciate being intentional about that, because, these are things that keep us together. These are the things that keep us going and, all over the diaspora, but particularly here in America, where it's like what is for us. But I love the fact that in some states, and here in Pennsylvania, Juneteenth is now considered a holiday, an official holiday here in the state of Pennsylvania. And Fatina and I rode in the Juneteenth parade last year. Aww. And we were the Grand Marshal's darling, yes, amen.
Yes, clap, clap, clap.
Clap, clap, yes.
Okay.
And it got me to thinking, I've known about Juneteenth a long time, but I had never really been really intentional about celebrating it. And again, Black History Month in my household is a very big deal. And I am the only person that I know who decorates for Black History Month.
Nice.
So I actually decorate for Black History Month. So when you were saying the thing about putting up the pictures and stuff, I was like, oh, girl, this is me on Black History Month. Like, this is how I am. And I love the fact that you kind of came with your own family traditions. I think that's super important. That even though there's some things cross-culturally that we should continue to honor, one of the real things that I feel like is important to honor is those things that become important to your individual family. And that those are the things you get to pass on from generation to generation, which is why stuff like family reunions are such a big deal in our community and, things like that. Here's one thing I know I made up that my kids and I did on Juneteenth, I want to say 2 years ago. was I decided that I bought a very large piece of handmade and hand-printed mud cloth that has some kente woven into it as well. And this was what I placed over top of my mother's casket. And this is, how she was there when during her service. I took that and I laid it out on the table. It was, and what I was telling the kids was that, during slavery, obviously we weren't allowed to learn how to read, but we used to do these things called pit schools, where people would escape in the middle of the night and dig a ditch into the ground and get inside the ditch and cover it with leaves, and that they would learn how to read at night in these pit schools and these ditches. And one of the ways they learned was by writing into stuff like flour and salt. And so what I did was I told the kids, I said, okay, here, I'm going to cover our table. This is something to honor our particular ancestors. And, my mother is an ancestor now. And I set out a little tray and I said, okay, guys, I put the flour out. I said, this is our way of honoring how our ancestors learned before they were free to learn how to read and to learn how to have their own self-determination. And so I was like, you can write anything in the flour that you want. You can write the name of an ancestor. You can write a shape, a heart, or whatever, your own name, whatever. But this is our way that we honor the ways that they learned. And so my kids and I did that. And, and that was part of our Juneteenth celebration.
That's dope. Yeah.
We're free. We're free in a lot, not every way, but we're free.
Not enslaved.
We're not enslaved. So you have the capacity to come up with whatever it is that you want to come up and make that a thing for your family.
Hey, listen, I think in this moment, it's funny, Jill, as you were talking about, I want to say it right, I was about to say Festivus. I'm sorry, that's Seinfeld.
Everyone.
We have Festivus the day before Famous.
Festivus for the rest of us?
Festivus for the rest of us. We have that the day before.
So y'all do Festivus, do y'all do Famous? And then it's interesting because I thought it was a nice tie-in to Kwanzaa too, because while you're celebrating your family for one, then you start celebrating your culture and your community in the next, right?
But I tapped out by then.
Oh.
I'm not even gonna hold you up.
It's a commitment. I will say it's hard.
A lot to me because I didn't grow up celebrating holidays or birthdays for that matter. So I'm going to apologize now. I'm probably not going to remember your birthday unless you tell me and I put it in my phone.
Oh, I'm not either, but not for that reason.
Because I don't remember. I
already told y'all we got 9,000 people in our family, so
I forget my own damn birthday. If the radio didn't tell me or the Instagram, they're like, it's Jill Scott's birthday. I'll be like, oh, it is. I'm 29 again.
Evergreen.
Well, I hesitated to bring up Kwanzaa because I was like, I don't, people feel different ways about Mr. Karinge, but at the same time, at the fundamentals of what it asks of you, of what it really boils down to is fucking amazing. And shouts out to Mtume and all the rest of the elders who actually helped make that holiday happen as well. You can't deny it, right?
Actually, I don't have an issue with the actual principles of Kwanzaa.
Yeah,
and I know that people, so many things have come out about I used to say about Karinga, but for me, I do think people who continue to celebrate Kwanzaa, I know what their intentions are, and I think it's actually a beautiful time for a lot of families, and really gives African Americans in particular an opportunity to connect in a way that speaks to who we are here, but also honors our culture in Africa and what we brought with us. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying, okay, yes, that I am connected to and absolutely a product of the continent. But here we had a specific kind, and not just here, but in other places in the diaspora, experience this, chattel slavery, which is, it's an experience. It's something that you can't forget. It's something that did happen and did affect our ability to be connected in the ways that we were before that. So I think it's nothing wrong with, as a community saying, hey, let's figure out a way to reconnect, but then also acknowledge that we are a new thing, And so no problem at all with that.
I love it. I wish we could have more holidays like that. Like we don't really have a lot of holidays African American culture wise. Do we? Am I tripping? I'm like Kwanzaa and
Black History Month.
Juneteenth. What happens in New Orleans and Louisiana? What is it?
Mardi Gras.
Okay, it's funny. Some things are taken from us and built into something else. So I totally forget about Mardi Gras in that way because you are so right. Okay. Mardi Gras, Juneteenth, Kwanzaa. All right. I could use just a couple other ones around.
Oh, and in Chicago in the Midwest, they have Sweetest Day.
What's that?
Sweetest Day is Black people's version of Valentine's Day.
Oh, Black Love Day. Okay.
It's Black Love Day.
Nice.
Or
I'll take it all. It all.
Or a single celebration, whatever.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And then, of course, in New York and Miami, you got Carnival, you got...
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I forget.
Puerto Rican Day Parade.
Cinco de Mayo. For other cultures, am I wrong?
Well, let me say this. This is where we get lost.
See, I don't know.
Because we create holidays. Well, we didn't create holidays, but we celebrate holidays, which is just fine. And creating your own holiday for your family and making a tradition for your family is beautiful. I think so. Mm-hmm. As someone who participates in it. But here we are.
What's up, J.ill? Because y'all should know that Jill's eyes are closed, so she's about to get it.
She's about to get in. It's coming.
It does frustrate the life. Oh, it drains my life when I see so many of us going into debt for Christmas.
Yeah.
Going into debt for Christmas for people who do not deserve this amount of gifting.
It's shocking to me that we still celebrate a holiday that we kind of know that's not really truthful of what it is. And we definitely know that it's a big money-making day. But we are so in the line of this tradition for generations and generations that we just cannot let it go. It's amazing to me.
Very much like Jesus.
Oh, shit. I gotta...
Don't get me in trouble.
You ain't...
listen, we're already in trouble. Let's talk about it. We said we were going to talk about things. And we are here to spark conversation.
I asked my grandmother about that one day, Jill.
Listen, I had the same conversation with my mother and my grandmother. My question is always this. What exactly have white people that were enslaving folks giving them for their benefit? They don't want you to read. They want you to speak your language. They didn't want you to pray to how you pray. So they've given you
She's about to go there.
And the fact that we continue to hold on to this.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes.
You know, I don't know what you're going to do with this. I know this. I know that I love God.
Mm-hmm.
I do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I am so appreciative. I am so grateful that I've learned my relationship with Jehovah God. And there's so many names, and that's your business, how you want to deal. I have John 3:16 on my neck. And it is because it says, for those who don't know, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that whomever shall believe shall not perish, but have everlasting life. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But nonetheless, most of you know what that is. And I just think that we've gotten that confused. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that whomever shall believe in him. Now, I'm gonna tell you like this. If somebody asked me to save the world by giving my only begotten son, y'all would be some dead motherfuckers. You be dead.
Is she
You
come,
be dead.
y'all?
We all be dead. And we going together. My only begotten son, I always think, man, that level of love, to love human beings so much, to give your only child for them, is massive. And that should be respected and appreciated and honored and cherished. If we're going with the stories to be true. I really feel that way. And it bothers me when people don't give our Creator the credit deserved. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, so that whomever shall believe in Him, the Creator Himself, so that whomever shall believe in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life.
Well, I mean, I think
I'm glad you
it's a
went
lot
there.
to unpack.
I thought she was going
Yeah, it's a
somewhere
lot.
else.
Yeah, it's a lot to
Where
unpack
did you think I was
there.
going? It's plenty to
Well,
unpack.
I thought you
Yeah, I mean,
were-
there's a lot to unpack there. One of the things that I will say this about Black folks and their forced or perceived forced, because after slavery they were forced to embrace Christianity, but a form of Christianity that was obviously twisted and used,
intended to keep them enslaved.
intended to keep them enslaved
Mentally.
but obviously it was that same Bible and that same teachings, those same teachings that also spoke to so many enslaved people that incited them to riot and rebel.
There it is.
Because Nat Turner actually believed that God had spoken to him. Harriet Tubman said, God spoke to me. These are not people who read a book or were intellectuals. These were hardcore spiritual people, but they also came from very similar backgrounds in their Africanness.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It could have
have
came from that more than anything.
Oh, yeah, no, they did.
Yeah.
They actually did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and they had certain spiritual beliefs that were passed down. So the reason why I say all this is because African Americans have successfully, in many ways, many ways, merged together what they brought on the ships with Christianity in such a way that empowers them spiritually, that has been at the core of their resistance. So if you start to peel back the layers of Black resistance over several years, you're going to find a lot of that is what changes it. And not just Christianity, but also with Islam. Because when you look back at some of the other, leaders of different rebellions, they had some backgrounds and beliefs that were Islamic. And then also, too, the big Haitian Revolution was started with a religious ceremony based in Vodun, which is based in Yoruba. So it's like all of this is who we are. We take who we are everywhere that we go. We take who we are everywhere we go. And so when you talk about
we just don't
holidays,
know when we're using it from our own background.
Right. Sometimes that's the part.
Problem.
We don't always know. We don't always know that that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But believe you me, that is what it is. And when you start talking about holidays, that is where we start to get into, okay, well, what does this mean? Or what is the meaning behind this? So that I'm sure that it's not contradictory to what I believe.
Because
it's not
Asia,
weakening.
I hear your voice in the back of my head when it comes to these holidays, right? It's all because of white supremacy.
It's all because of white supremacy. Well, not all of them. Not all of them.
Most of the American ones that we celebrate.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because it's about capitalism. It's like Jill said. This is about people making money and being able to make money off of us as individuals. It's not about making life better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or making you more spiritually connected. That whenever capitalism embraces a thing. But racial capitalism embraced Christianity from the gate. There's no way to separate the two. You got to have the conversation, not be afraid to have that conversation. It doesn't diminish any one person's belief. Because you can find Christianity in Ethiopia way before they ever came here. So you can find...
Right, because the white man was everywhere. That's what I'd be scared. That's why I was scared, always scared. Not scared, because I did ask my grandmother, but it was always an interesting point for me, because I was like, as Black as my grandmother was, I always wondered, like, the story of Christianity and what I knew of it and how it came to Black Americans. I was like, oh, that's interesting that I get it. We have a habit of taking things and making them our own and switching it from a negative to a positive. But man, this is a doozy. This is a real doozy. I always thought Christianity.
I mean, it would be a really good idea to say that Ethiopia was never colonized.
That's true. But the man came down there, though, didn't he?
Everywhere.
Man, he came everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Well, end of the day is that I do know a lot of folks who, when they hear the word holiday, they thinking holy day.
Okay. Fair.
So tradition and holy day can be two different things. And particularly people who are very religious are more likely to focus on a holy day than a tradition. Traditions for them can come and go because a tradition can be started by someone who, whatever. But something that's tied into your actual belief system, people...
I know, but then it gets all
like
shaky
that's what they want to focus on.
Because you're like, it's not his birthday. It's not a day. It's not a birthday. It's not a day he died. It's blah, 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 blah. And then you tell us a story about how we all came to this day. And it's like, okay. Religion
We believe
is so
a lot of
confusing
things
to me.
We believe a lot of things just
because they tell us to believe it, and it's a tradition of believing.
Well, not just telling, but forcing. People got their teeth pulled out with pliers and such. People got their feet cut off. Forcing them to be Christians.
True. Which is another reason which makes it hard, always made it hard for rebellious me to go, so we just gonna roll with this as truth, even though we was...
What I would need, though, for me, what I would need is for Christianity to actually do its job. I needed to do its work. I need churches to be smaller and Black people to be more affluent. I see a lot of big churches, and I cannot front with you. Like it bothers me. I know people. I visit a lot of different places. When it comes to religion. So I'll check out a Buddhist temple for a while, and I'll go to a Catholic church for a while, and just pay attention and look around and listen and see what I'm getting. And sometimes I stay in one place longer than others. There's a church that I was going to here in Tennessee, and I have a friend who was going through some hard times, particularly with this COVID, and she's worked for the church, and she's benefited and been there to help in so many areas, and she needed some help. So myself and some others, we joined together to help her. And then after that, we're like, okay, so, we're in a better space, a good space. Let's go to the church. And they told her they would pray for her. And I was like, wait, huh? I'm having a hard time with that when the pastor has, a dumb, ridiculous, big-ass house. Like, I'm having a hard time.
Yo, my mama used to call her councilman about it. Like, that church too big. What we doing?
Yeah, I don't understand why there isn't more, it's similar to the Black Panthers, where you're supplying food and shelter for people. Like, I don't understand. And somebody be like, my church. I'm just talking about as a whole, because this is such a part of Black people, right, and what we pour ourselves into, and we're pouring ourselves into not just our faith, absolutely, without question, but we're also pouring ourselves into these edifices. We're pouring ourselves into these places that don't seem to benefit the people as they should. There should be more universities. HBCUs should not be struggling with the amount of money that comes through, churches. Yeah. The churches are getting bigger, and the pool is getting bigger. They've got lights like a show, like Vegas shows. That basket comes around, I don't know, 3-4 times. I just need it, whatever it is, to actually be a benefit I need it to be a benefit to the people.
And love to the churches that are, because we know there's not everybody. I want to shout out to Alfred Street Baptist over there in Virginia that's trying to keep their church as small as possible with their 30,000 members and still giving to their HBCUs and all what
Bless
there are.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. They refuse to go mega. So what they just added services throughout the day. Jill.
I had a church once that the pastor was actually a carpenter.
Yeah.
That's what he worked. And I love that. Because he could understand it wasn't just an offering, that he was living off of offerings, that he was actually working. I just don't think you should get without
Girl,
giving.
all them black pastors just heard you and went, girl, please.
Yeah, I mean,
Carpenter.
I think what happens is that obviously you have had many conversations over the several hundred years that we've been in this country or in the West, where we've tackled this idea that Black wealth and access to money helps us as a community, and that's going to push us forward. And one of the main places where that wealth can be distributed, is typically in church. And so it was especially for Black folks, or in their religious institutions, period. Because we've seen this kind of thing happen, across faiths. You know what I mean? And I think it's a good thing to a degree to have a church be a base for, social supports and community supports. But the thing is that the community itself isn't just Christian people. So until we have a situation where as a community we can have diverse spaces for everybody to come together, and under the guise of strengthening the community and giving resources, we'll just be empowering these entities to just get into the race of who can raise the most money, who can bring in the most membership, who can do X, Y, and Z. Until we start really working into coalitions and stuff like that. And not that we don't have them, because every idea that we could come up with during this podcast, it's been tried. So the thing is that I think reshifting our focus back into coalitions is important. I mean, I hate to pull out my little history lesson on this one, but
we love this part.
And you don't hate it. Go ahead, teach us.
But Denmark Vesey, who is a really famous revolutionary and man who planned a revolt, a slave revolt that actually was not successful, but it was used as a way it sparked a lot of change in America moving toward emancipation. So the idea here is that when he planned this revolt, he was a very devout Christian. But one of his main conspirators was a man named Gullah Jack, and he practiced African spiritual traditions. And here you had a man who was a devout Christian who planned a slave revolt with a man who was strictly in the practice of African spirituality. And I think that this is really, really profound, because what it says is that Black people, no matter what we believe, no matter how we celebrate, no matter how we worship, that we have a combined and a unified struggle. And that struggle is against the oppressor. And so I think that's really important when we think about these kinds of things, that if we can't put all the weight on just the one church or just the churches. The churches have to not be afraid to work with the mosque. The mosque has to not be afraid to work with the church. The mosque can't be afraid to work with the African spiritualists. Mm-hmm. You can't. All of this has to come together so that we can serve one another, so that we can celebrate family and building of community. You know what I mean? And that's just my personal little 2 cents belief.
I'm right there with you.
If we don't toss these things, we'll always have some sort of critique. We will have a critique, and that will maintain that. There will be a hierarchy and a monopoly within each of these spaces. Somebody will come up on it. It just is what it is.
I am looking to see us bloom and prosper and grow from our efforts. And anything that you're pouring into that does not blossom is futile, is dead earth.
Word.
I'd like you to check out How to Make a Negro Christian.
Oh, shit. Yes, ma'am.
Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure that, some of you are offended and you're probably going to get me wrong. Well, that happens. I can't do anything about somebody getting me wrong. But I do know this, that God has been in every single instant of my life, every single bit of it. He knows me better then I know myself, and it's been a beautiful, beautiful guide in even my foolishness. And I am grateful for all of it.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
It's producer Eves, back with another resource. Today, J.ill brought up the book How to Make a Negro Christian by Kamau Mackenzie Tahuti. In 1842, Thomas Peirce published the book The Religious Instruction of the Negroes in the United States, written by Charles Colcock Jones. Jones owned plantations in Liberty County, Georgia, and was an enslaver and a Presbyterian minister. He encouraged other ministers and enslavers to provide religious instruction to Black people. In this book, Jones advocated for evangelizing enslaved people, which he thought would make them more obedient, intellectual, morally upstanding, and pliable. Leaving them without Christianity and in ignorance, he believed, would make them susceptible to rebellion. Mackenzie Tahuti's book, How to Make a Negro Christian, contains a reprint of Jones's works, along with commentary and context around how and why Black Americans have come to embrace Christianity on such a large scale. The history of Black folks and Christianity is deep and intricate, but you can start with How to Make a Negro Christian. I'll drop a link in the episode description.
And that, my children, my sisters, my brothers, my friends, that is that. Thank you for listening to J.ill, always hoping to spark conversation. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Jill Scott Presents J.ill, the podcast.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
This podcast is hosted by Jill Scott, Laiya St. Clair, and Aja Graydon-Dantzler. Its executive producers are Jill Scott, Sean G., and Brian Calhoun. It's produced by Laiya St. Clair and me, Eves Jeffcoat. The editing and sound design for this episode were done by Taylor Chacoin.
Hey, y'all, can we pause for 1 second? 1 second. Hold on, cover your ears. Hey! Hey! Y'all, you're walking too hard on the floor. Sorry.
I thought something else was about to go down.
I enjoy it every time, though.
Me too.
Listen, Aja, she got to yell at the people that live in there, the people she made, and the ones she didn't. She had to yell at them every now and then to tell them to shut up. They're walking too hard.
I don't know what, it's like cement in the heel of their foot.
I don't know.
What is that?
But when you figure it out, let me know so I can tell my upstairs neighbor. Goddamn.
J.ill is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.